day we're going to finalise the signing of the contracts with the key people who will be responsible for the restoration. And I thought it was fitting that today I should do something different at this time of liturgy. But this morning we invited journalists to come in and see it for themselves. But what I'd like to say to you is that it's my hope that restoring the cathedral will restore our hope, to help to build our sense of community and make us more united, and the effort, and even the cost, if you want to call it that, will be of spiritual value as well as material value.
Just before we formally start today's press conference, we're going to have a short video which reflects back on the immediate aftermath of the fire on Christmas Day 2009 in St. Helens.
Windows have already been destroyed and the lights in the museum.
I'd like to echo words of thanks and appreciation that he spoke to the media. I know from experience of dealing with groups who have been assisted by the media, local groups who have developed various projects, and very often when there's a word of thanks being delivered to various people, the media are confined to the "and finally" bit. And it's usually, I think, sounds a little bit like tokenism, to be honest, but I'd like my word of thanks to be much more than that. From Christmas Day until today, at all times, the media's comments were necessary, warm and sensitive. So I couldn't say more that's good about the coverage we got, and we will continue to remain very grateful for what, please God, you can continue to give us. But having said that, I think I'd just like to refer to it again because for specific reasons, which I'll mention in a moment. There's a line from one of the Psalms, Psalm 29, which says, "Tears come with the night, but joy comes with the dawn." Now, I don't suppose the psalmist meant that all sorrow comes in darkness and all joy comes with dawn, because certainly it was the very opposite with us in Longford. We had a great and joyful celebration of the midnight mass, as we call it, and we had a dreadful Christmas morning. I was by no means the only one. The whole community here was shattered by what happened, and we have plenty of evidence of it. There's one of the panels there of our exhibition which has Friends of St. Mel's Cathedral, and if you wanted to get a flavour of the sort of feelings that people had, from a little Polish girl who wrote in a beautiful handwriting what it was like for her to see the cathedral destroyed, from that to the variety of various different people who commented from far and near. So I'm looking at this day as a day of new beginning. We might have tears on Christmas, and there'll be other stages along the journey when things will not be easy. But I see this as a day of re-emergence of hope for the future. I wouldn't for one moment want to give the impression that this is going to be an easy task. It's the very opposite. And certainly what I'd like to convey to people who hear and read about our press conference today is that they'll have to be very patient. And I'd like to think that it'll be a time of renewal. President McAleese, who phoned me on Christmas Day to express her sympathy, who came on St. Stephen's Day and gave me that gift over there of a window. It's St. Patrick ordaining St. Mel as Bishop of Ardagh. And that was her own personal gift to me. It has nothing to do with her office as president as such. But at a time when I needed a boost, that certainly helped. She said one thing to me when she was visiting with me on St. Stephen's Day. She said, try and see this as an opportunity. She said, your cathedral was built at a time when Ireland was struggling to come out of the famine, and it provided somehow, it was a flagship of Irish cathedrals at that time for the future. She said, try and think of it as an opportunity to be like that again for the present time. So just in conclusion, I'm conscious today of standing in the shoes of a lot of great people who went before me. William O'Higgins was a County Longford man who was the bishop who started the project. Sadly, the famine intervened and prevented him from seeing it to completion. But I think we all have to start, I imagine, the way he started, starting out in hope with no certainty for the future, except that once one is doing this work, one is trying to do what God asks of us at this time. So thanks very much.
9/10 of it is nearly below the surface and won't be seen. And when the work finally starts on the site, will almost be the beginning of the end, because so much work has to be done before. And we have taken a long time, and we have said this time and time again, in our procurement both of our project managers and then of our architectural association. We said, yes, it's important that we do it quickly and we do it efficiently, but it's most important that we get it right.
To see the cathedral today, it was heartbreaking because it looked bad on the day of after the fire. It actually has been further deconstructed now so that we can analyse what we need to do. But I think we're now at the starting blocks for putting it all back together again. And I hope that you'll stay faithful to us on that journey. 80% of the critical decisions about the rebuilding and reordering of this church will be made in the first 20% of the project's duration. So there's a hugely intensive intellectual effort will go in now into the design decisions and into translating those into the hundreds of drawings and schedules that will be required to tender and to rebuild this. So please stay patient with us and hopefully we'll stay friends and enjoy the journey together. Thank you.
While restoring the building is of the utmost importance, every step has been taken to reinstate the heritage of the building. It is ultimately an effective and forward-looking liturgical environment which must be the primary consideration. If this can be achieved, the cathedral will live again. So part of our task in rebuilding St. Mel's is to make it a religious space of powerful resonance, respecting the past, living in the present, and pointing towards the future.